Hey guys, I'm doing some tile in my shower today.
I'm Sarah, and this is Travis. We've moved 7 times in the last 6 years and are currently renovating our 3rd house with our 3 boys and our Old English sheepdog. Follow along as we renovate our house and raise our boys. That's him. Subscribe and join us on our next adventure.
And so I want to go over real quick kind of the prep you need to do to be ready for this. And prep to be ready to set tile, not prep to get to this stage. I've already have that in other videos, but there's actually quite a bit of thinking you need to do before you before you even cut your first piece. Yeah, I've probably spent, 2-3 hours in measuring and planning and doing some math on where the tile pieces are all going to land. Which is a side note, if you have a laser level, that would make this way easier, and I do not. Where's it going? Go on. That's a good boy. Okay, so I don't know if you can see my little sketch drawings here, but the very first step you have to figure out is where you want your tile and your grout lines to land on your wall. And just a general rule of thumb is you want it to be pretty symmetrical. Your back wall is going to be your most visible, so that's where you should start, and you want this to be symmetrical. The way that my math and everything just worked out the best is I found the middle of this wall, which is this line right here, placed the tile, just did the math. That wraps around my shower really nicely. I don't have any small pieces, any sliver pieces on the ends or in the corners. Anyway, then you got your vertical measurements that you got to worry about. And I don't know if it's showing up in the frame right now, but I have this little niche for shampoo bottles and stuff. I have to not only know where my tile is going to end on the niche to make sure I don't have a little sliver there, and I have to know how my tile ends at the top to make sure I don't have a little sliver at the top. Yeah, so once you figure out all that math and do all your laying out, now I'm ready to cut my first pieces. And I'm gonna use a combination of a tile saw, a wet tile saw that I have, and then I also have just one of those tile scorers, and I'll show you that here real quick. I'm hoping to be able to do most of my cuts on that scorer just because it's so much faster, but it is less precise. I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get started here. I'm gonna cut out as many pieces as I can, and then I'm gonna start mudding it all on there. Okay, another probably obvious note here to add. Now that I've cut these tile, I have a sharp edge and then the factory rounded edge. The sharp edge is going to go in the corner, and tile on tile in the corner is going to hide it. A grout line is going to hide it, and then you want your factory edge to always be what's going to be visible. So you got to keep that in mind here. Okay, so your first layer is your most important, really, to get a level line. I am finding that because I have my rubber lining pan, and I have my mesh tape that I used when I did my membrane on this, my corners are a little bit more narrow than the top of my wall will be. Not a big deal. I'll be able to cut just the corner edge of my tile, like 1/8 of an inch, and then again, when tile comes to tile there, it'll hide all that. You'll never be able to see that. But yeah, I gotta go make that cut on my tile saw now. 2 layers of tile all cut and semi-placed. This is just held up here, no mortar yet. I have marked my third piece, my third row, and measured. I'm still perfectly even. Now I'm gonna cut several heights above. So I have up to my niche up there, ready to go. And then I'm gonna mix up some mortar, start sticking this on. I'm gonna get half this wall done today. But yeah, tile's a little bit slow to start. Once you get it started, then it can go fairly quick. You know, as a side note here, so many of these, I think I've said something similar to this before, but so many of these little do-it-yourself jobs, it's so hard to wrap your mind around that you can do this and all the details of the job. And if you just start it and you fail or you succeed, it doesn't really matter that much. But if you just start it with confidence as much as you can, you'll be able to do all of these do-it-yourself home jobs. None of these are that difficult. None of them requires, above average intelligence or anything like that. It just requires trying it, and then if you mess up, you redo it, you learn from it. I know there's something about doing something for the first time that's just intimidating, but as you get over that and just try it, you'll find that it's easy. So when you're sticking tile on here, you want to use the side of your trowel that has the teeth to make the lines on the wall, and then you want to put a little thin layer on your tile. This will give you the best adhesion between tile and wall. I think they call this skimming, maybe? I can't remember for sure, but yeah, it gives them a nice grab. Everything has to build off of this, so if this isn't square, then nothing will be.
Do you see how it sort of moves?
Yeah. Okay, you done?
Oh, so I just have to get over here.
Go ahead.
Okay, that part just stirs me out a bit.
Yeah. Who's getting stirred up here? You or the mortar?
Mortar.
Okay, a couple things I want to show you with the tile. I'm getting to some tricky cuts, like this one right here. And I just want to explain a little bit how I'm doing this, like the thought process behind this for you newbies out there who are more newbies than me. So I start with a full piece of tile. I first would figure out my total length, because this is going to land in a seam, if that makes sense. So I would first cut it to that length. Then I would hold this up, mark where I want the edge to be all the way down. I'd hold it at the right height horizontally, mark where I need this cut all the way down. Then you would just kind of trace those lines to get to the shape you want. And once you got it all marked out, you really need, for this type of cut, you really need a tile saw. And on a tile saw, it's pretty easy. Yeah, another hard thing on this cut to figure out was I'm going to have inside pieces of tile here. And so I had to figure out how long this needed to be. What I had to do is set my piece of tile in here and set the trim that I'm going to have in here all at the exact spot where it's going to land. One other thing I'll show you here, when you get to your faucet handles, before you stick any of the pieces that go where your faucets go, you want to prove how all your hardware mounts. So when I just tried to prove this, I realized that I don't know if you can see my marks right there. I am missing holes that would line up there. That's gonna screw all this down to the fixture. If I had just stick this on, it would have been savable probably, but I would have had to use a drill bit to cut through this and could have risked breaking the whole thing. It would have been way harder. So have a little bit of foresight with some of these harder cuts, especially on your handles.
This is how far Travis got for this week's video. Hopefully we'll have some more for you next week. If this video was helpful for you, please give it a like, and thank you so much for watching.